last 2 decades, let me say, Africa has really changed from a country where 75% of the countries on the continent were low-income countries to a continent today where over 75% of those countries are either beginning to become low middle-income countries or middle-income countries. A lot of those countries are now also accessing capital markets and would like to maintain their access to capital markets. So we hope that, I think as every country has reiterated, there are not going to be defaults on the continent, and we hope that we can continue to work with the private sector and our creditors to ensure that there is some resolution to our problem. I think when anybody who has visited Lagos knows about the Hilton Hotel in Lagos, the ECA just did some work that showed that one of the big sectors of the economies of Africa that are suffering from this crisis is the hospitality sector. Of course, with the tourism sector, which is particularly hitting women as well. Tony, you're not a woman, but you're going to talk about it. You have been a champion of youth employment and ensuring that women have access to business. But because of the tourism hit that is happening today on the continent, what do you see as a response that we can give to ensure that we can build back better, that we can come back? You are the demonstration of resilience in Nigeria. You've been able to provide energy, renewable energy on the continent. What is the private sector of the continent? As resilient as you are, what do you need to ensure that when we start to build back better, we can actually lift the youth with us and the women?
Vera, thanks so much. And let me say well done to my dear friend, Richard, for making this possible. He keeps trying to throw the light on Africa, because one of the things we need is we need the world to know what's happening on our continent. I'd like to start by saying, Vera, that it goes beyond hospitality sector. It goes beyond some of the issues that you've talked about. This pandemic is a very serious one. And indeed, I would say that without it, the African economic space was already in some form of that straits. And I tell you from where I sit, my primary, one of the hats I wear is the hat of the group chairman for United Bank of Africa PLC that operates in 20 African countries and some other jurisdictions outside. Is that first, those who 10% or about less than 10% of our customers account have over $1,000 balances in their accounts. And these 10% account for over 75% of our clientele, of our total deposit in all of these 20 countries that we're operating across Africa with over 20 million customers. We're seeing significant and unacceptable unemployment rate in Africa. We have also seen endemic poverty. We talked today about some palliatives and some form of debt relief for Africa. But if we recall, my big sister there, Ngozi, she was finance minister in Nigeria at this point, and she, President Obasanjo, they worked very hard for debt cancellation on Nigeria. Today, we're talking about debt relief, debt standstill for Africa. You know, for me, this is the kind of circularity that we should not allow to continue. So it goes beyond just one sector of the African economy. There's something that's not right. Disruption has come to stay. 2020 started with disruptions. And it just, in my viewpoint, it began. We will continue to have economic disruption. This just health, pandemic health disruption we'll have. We'll have security disruption. And the point for every one of us is how do we reset Africa so that when these disruptions come, because they will definitely come, we also have digital and technological disruptions. When they come, how are we able to withstand this? How do we ensure that we are not going to go again begging for debt relief for Africa? It's becoming, in my viewpoint, the circularity is becoming embarrassing to all of us. So we need to reset. We need to look at issues much more fundamental. We need to look at why are we where we are and what must we do to address this. So, and I must commend and congratulate my friend Tijan and my big sister Ngozi for the great job they are doing as our envoys. In my viewpoint, as we engage with the rest of the world in providing relief, we'll call it, because it is relief, it's palliative. That is what it is, not a permanent solution to our issues. We need to look at it from a much more fundamental perspective. What must we do as a continent to ensure that when these disruptions come next, would be security disruption or technological digital disruption or economic disruption that will inevitably come, we are able to withstand this. I have often argued that we need a form of Marshall Plan. I came to the 1940 Marshall Plan that was put in place. We need to mobilize everyone so that Africa can come together. So that it's not just about the tourism sector, about one other sector. All of us can address this issue. Speaking specifically about the employment issue, I think if we look at the youth issue, if we have a Marshall Plan that mobilizes resources to address some critical sector like access to electricity, which is a major issue on the continent, then we'll begin the conversation. We'll begin to make sure that we don't go again begging for people to bail us out, because we must, as a continent, accept the fact that disruption has come to stay. If before maybe 3, 4, 5 years, and that won't happen. And so a solution to us should be much more than a sectoral, one sector approach. I think, do we have the resources and capability for this to happen? Yes. If you look at Ngozi, if you look at Tchad, these are great Africans, and they can mobilize people, and both within and outside Africa, the private sector, the public sector. In my little world, as the founder of the Tony Elumelu Foundation, we experimented something. We endowed $100 million to support young African entrepreneurs, young Africans who have economic ambitions. We believe that what we need is economic opportunity. And what we have done so far shows to us clearly that if we can fix access to electricity on the continent, if we can ensure, like what Ngozi led for a long time when she was in Nigeria, for instance, stability of macroeconomic policy and environment, if we can prioritize the youth, to a large extent, we're able to fix some of these issues, because ultimately, unemployment level in Africa is unacceptable. Poverty level is totally endemic and cripple us. And these are things that predispose Africa to extremism. We must, and youth migration, we must fix them. To me, I see this pandemic as an opportunity to reset Africa. The easiest thing for us to do, the easiest escape for us is to just say, take more debts, give us a moratorium, or no interest repayment, and it keeps going on. And that circularity is an issue we must deal with. And to deal with it, we need to prioritize our young ones. We need to get our government to ensure stable macroeconomic policy. Some are doing very well in that area, but we need to bring everyone to the table. Let all of us see how we can deal with the issue of unemployment in a sustainable fashion. And to me, that is by empowering the small and medium-scale enterprises, the young Africans who have economic ambition, who are energetic, who work very hard, who want to succeed, and who have been succeeding from what we see.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much.